Okay, good morning. We're just gonna wait here one more minute, let a few more people get logged in and get set up. Okay, good morning, and thank you for joining us today for our returning to work post COVID-19 presentation. We hope to share some information that you can use to prepare and organize your plans and policies, and provide some of the resources and tools that we have access to that we think will help make returning to work as smooth as possible for you. Logistically here, we've got slides that we will be recording the webinar. We'll send them out via email. We'll also be posting the slides to our LinkedIn and Facebook pages. We will be taking live questions at the end. And also there is on the side panel there, you can type your questions in. We'll do our best to address any questions on the panel at the end. If we don't get to those, we will follow up with an email. And so today presenting is our director. Well, first of all, we are KingBenefits Insurance Solutions. We're located here in Carlsbad, California since 1972. We do specialize in employee benefits, HR productivity tools, compliance, and training. Presenting today will be our Director of Operations, Jennifer Frazier, and our newest team member, Anthony Anselmo, along with myself, Jeremy White. So right now I'm going to bring in Anthony to discuss the purpose of the presentation and what preparations employers can make in returning to work.
All righty, hello. So basically we're going to start with the purpose of the presentation. So this presentation is just designed to help you educate the employers on the best practices for returning to work as the coronavirus disease pandemic flattens out, as well as temporary laws, guidelines, and restrictions are lifted. We are also here to prepare employers on how to mitigate risks and how to establish best practices for working in a post-coronavirus workplace, as well as provide appropriate and accurate resources for employers regarding COVID-19 and employee health and wellness. Overall, we are here to help you get back to work prepared and just ready for anything that comes your way. So I just wanted to start with a short quote from Dr. Seuss, who is one of my childhood heroes and actually is one of our clients. It is, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. And that is from Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. And I think this mentality can be seen throughout returning to work all around the world. By taking precautions and caring about the well-being of yourself as well as your employees, this eventually in time will all get better. So basically what we're going to be going over today is what the employers can do, what we personally have done here at KingBenefits in our office, and also clients' resources as well as tools. So when returning to work, obviously, COVID-19 has changed many different aspects of the current workplace, and as employers prepare to return to work, there are a lot of different considerations that need to be made. So one of the things that you could start with is by putting an action plan in place. So having an action plan can create an increased employee satisfaction, as well as putting their mind at ease for safety and sanitary reasons. Next, another thing that you could do is an updated workplace layout. So you can help spread out your employees so that they aren't as close to each other as they were pre-coronavirus, and make sure that they are promoting social distancing and following those guidelines. Next, you can explain that we have the social distancing measures and behavioral changes that you want to expect from your employees. You could have these expected changes to everyday workplaces, work practices. I mean, an example of this it's of me just being able to put hand sanitizer on more, I think, than I ever had in my life. Um, and then going on to updating the cleaning procedures. This helps create a healthy and safe work environment, well, where your employees will feel more comfortable throughout the office itself. And lastly, we'll just go through the use of masks and face coverings, because it is very important in a workplace setting. So as some employees may be at a larger risk than others, everyone should play their part in making sure that everyone in the office is safe. So we're going to move over to what employers can do. So just as Michael Scott said, and I knew exactly what to do, but in a much more real sense, I had no idea what to do. A lot of employers feel this way and are not sure of what they have to do or what they should do to make an office feel safe and sanitary again. So here are a few tips and practices that can help you make your office a place your employees want to come back to. First, you can update the workplace layout. So one of the first things that you could do is create a walk traffic flow that discourages congestion. So as you encourage employees to navigate the workplace in specific directions, such as counterclockwise walk traffic flow, or even just creating pedestrian lanes, which can help prevent congestion and as well as promote social distancing. Next, another thing that you could do is increase each employee's personal space. So by ensuring that workstations are 6 or more feet apart, employees can properly social distance while completing everyday duties. Another thing that you could do is create actual physical walls and barriers. Just as creating these barriers between these employees can be an effective way of keeping employees safe from one another. For example, for me, I have my office now in the conference room so that there's enough space for people to be able to walk by, and I have 2 glass doors to see when people, if they need to talk to me, if they have to come through. We've moved a lot of things around to make sure that everybody is a lot safer and less risk of contracting COVID-19. Next, another thing that we actually also have done here at KingBenefits is updating our air filtration systems. So as air pollutants can quickly build up indoors, an effective air ventilation system can help flush out that air, as well as keep the indoor air clean. Another thing that you could do as well is install the no-touch soap dispensers, faucets, as well as paper towel dispensers in the bathroom itself. So while employees are obviously being encouraged to wash their hands often, installing this no-touch technology can reduce the number of surfaces that are being touched by employees. And lastly, one of the more expensive, but just practices that you could use is installing automatic doors. So obviously door handles are one of the most frequently touched surfaces in an office, with people coming out, with people doing deliveries, clocking in, going out to lunch. And with an automatic door, this gives an opportunity for the less constant touching of these surfaces. So now moving over to the behavioral changes, it is important to create updated expectations for your employees and their behaviors. So one of the things that you could start is just create expectations for hand washing. So you just need to encourage your employees to wash their hands often, and even consider creating policies to reinforce this behavior. And just to keep this all in mind, even though a lot of these just seem like simple and easy tasks, since this isn't really part of the normal workday that we are all used to before coronavirus, these small details that may have actually a large impact can easily fly by our heads, and just we won't think about it. So it's just a reminder just to keep some of these things in your mind. Another thing that you could do is ban or discourage the shaking of hands. So obviously, while shaking hands is an instinct in many different cases, this practice really can spread germs very quickly. And I mean, if you need to, just give them maybe like an elbow or just a wave if you can. Next, we would just say adjust meeting practices. So I would just encourage limited participants in the meetings itself, advise them to spread out, and just also avoid shared multi-touch devices. For example, of a presentation, just having just one person in control of the presentation, maybe it's a laptop, iPad, something like that, and just have them in control the entire time. And lastly, just restricting unnecessary business travel. So with so many different platforms, many companies have gone to full-time work even at home, and just through web meetings, you really can talk to someone on the other side of the world and also save yourself a $500 plane ticket. Next, we'll be talking about the updated cleaning practices. So a few that we have that you could do is just increasing the frequency of the cleaning routines, and as well as ensuring these routines include these multi-touch surfaces and devices, just making sure that maybe every 30, maybe every hour, just make sure that you're cleaning door handles, just multi-touch devices and multi-touch surfaces just all around, bathroom doors, just make sure that things are getting sanitized and cleaned at a regular basis. Next, ensure that the cleaning routines is including the use of disinfectants. Then you can also increase the access of cleaning supplies to the employees, such as hand sanitizer, sanitizer wipes, and more. I have personally sanitizer wipes all right next to me, so whenever I touch anything, I just have it just ready if I ever need it. And then lastly, you can increase janitorial services. Instead of having them maybe come once a week, maybe have them come twice a week. And then lastly, just going over the mask and face coverings. So for an employee, and as well as an employer, you want to ensure that there's a mask supply available. So for example, for me personally, I went out on lunch and my mask fell out of my pocket, but luckily we had an adequate number of masks here at the office. So luckily I grabbed the mask, or actually, well, Jen brought me out the mask, and I was able to get back to my workplace safely and easily. Next, you should communicate your expectations to your employees. So employers should just consider and ensure that all employees are aware of any updates as well as current best practices. So just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, and also just make sure everyone's comfortable within the office to have these certain precautions taken. So lastly, just remember that masks do not replace social distancing. So even though they help prevent the spread of COVID-19, employees just have to understand that it does not diminish the importance of social distancing and keeping your space in between of people. So now I'm going to hand it over to Jennifer, who is going to be talking about what we personally have done here at our office at KingBenefits. Jennifer, take it away.
Thank you, Anthony. Welcome, everyone. Before I get into my discussion, I feel it's important to remind us that government guidance shifts rapidly. So as we receive new guidance and updates, there's a chance that our at-work plans may also change as well. As employers, it's really important that we all remain flexible during this time and continue to monitor the state and local guidelines and make adjustments as needed. As I go through the things that we've implemented at our office, keep in mind that this may not work for your company. It may not be, some of the things may not be necessary. We do have some at-risk employees due to age and health, and so we really wanted to ensure that everyone felt safe when coming back into the office. Some may feel that our procedures are a little on the extreme side. Others may feel that they need to implement even more. So when you're planning and assessing for your business, it's really important to think about what's best for your company and what's going to be best for your employees. We officially opened our office back up on June 1st. And prior to that, we put together a back to work action plan. Many of the things that I will be discussing here on out we're all included in our actual action plan. We sent this out to all of our staff a couple weeks before officially reopening, so everyone was aware of the new procedures. It gave them a chance to prepare, it gave them a chance to ask questions, and also provide us with feedback. We really wanted to hear from the employees and hear any ideas that they may have that we might have missed. And we did everything we could to implement a really good back to work action plan. So we're about a week and a half into it now, and I feel that the system seems to be working well for us, and we've implemented some really great things. Right now, we're currently on a rotating schedule, and typically there's about 2 to 4 employees in the office at a time, while the rest of the team will be working from home remotely. Our office space is a little bit on the smaller side. However, the way that it's set up really works well for us. We have about half the team has their own offices where they can close their doors if necessary. The rest of the team is in the kind of center of the office in their own cubicle, but the way that it's spaced out, there's at least 6 feet, if not more, between each individual workspace on any given day. As of right now, employers are allowed to monitor employee temperatures, and we are doing just that. We require employees to take their temperature when they first come into the office each day. We purchased a no-touch thermometer, and the way that we're keeping track of the temperatures is we've actually installed a Ring doorbell in our office. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with these Ring doorbells. You might have them in your own home or have seen them. The unique feature about this is it has a camera installed. So we put the doorbell right into a wall. You don't have to do it at a front door or have it attached to an actual doorbell. We just installed it to the wall. And so as employees come in, they take their temperature and they display the temperature on the camera of the doorbell. This logs temperatures but keeps information confidential. We don't have to have employees write down their temperatures each day that they come into the office. And it's great because we have a record now of what each individual employee's temperature was on a particular day if we ever had to reference back to that for any reason. So after they've displayed their temperature on the camera, we have a tub of disinfectant wipes that they wipe the thermometer down, and it's ready for the next employee to come in. And this system seems to be working really well for our employees. It keeps things simple as well as efficient. We are following the CDC guidelines, and if an employee has a temperature of 100.4 or higher, they will be asked to leave the office and work from home that day. We have automatic sanitizer dispensers set up at our front counter, as well as each employee has their own sanitizer at their desk. We've also, as Anthony mentioned, we purchased an air filtration system to keep fresh air flowing in our office, as well as it helps kill some of those germs in the air. If that's not something you can do or find necessary, even cracking a window open just to allow fresh air to circulate throughout the office is a really great idea. We do require that all of our employees wear a mask or a face covering at the office unless they're sitting at their individual workspace. So this is when using the restroom, when going into the kitchen, interacting with fellow employees, masks are required. A really unique program that we use is Microsoft Teams, and it's kind of like an instant messenger feature. And if somebody has a question or needs to get some information from another employee, they can shoot over a message on the Teams platform, and this avoids any unnecessary contact between employees as well. And while we're not encouraging in-person meetings at our office at this time, we do realize that that can't always be avoided. And so anyone who comes into the office is also required to wear a mask or a face covering. We do have extras on hand in case somebody doesn't have one, or in Anthony's case, he has dropped out of his pocket during lunch, so we have extras available not only for our employees, but as well for anybody who comes into the office who may not have a mask on hand. We have also increased our janitorial services. We have cleaning products set up throughout the office so employees can wipe down commonly used surfaces after use, after filling up their water in the water cooler, after using the printer, after opening the fridge. We're encouraging employees to wipe those areas down after each use. And about every hour or two, we do have somebody going around and wiping these spaces off as well. We keep our door locked throughout the day. The main reason for this is, one, for deliveries. We don't have to have the delivery driver drop the package off in the office. We can have them set it out of our front door. We have a big glass window and door that we can see when these things happen, and we can retrieve the package after they've left it there. We've also put a note on the door to instruct the drivers to leave the packages at the front. It also just helps with if there's anyone who we aren't expecting to come into the office on a particular day and they happen to come in, we can at least help prevent or make sure they've got their masks before entering the office. So keeping the door locked is just an extra safety protocol that we've implemented. We've even gone to the idea of purchasing disposable plates and utensils. In our office, we normally use real plates, real forks, real cups, but we came up with the idea of these disposable plates and utensils just in the event that somebody didn't want to share a dish wand or use a plate that someone may have just used. So we just came up with this idea thinking that it would just be one additional option for our employees to keep them feeling safe, to keep them feeling comfortable whenever they're in the office. So these are a lot of the things we've implemented here within our company to help ensure that we're providing safe and comfortable work environment to our staff. I'm hoping that you were able to take away some valuable tips and ideas to help implement in your own office. And so I'm going to pass things over to Jeremy now. He's going to share with you some of the resources and tools that we are able to offer you as an agency.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. By the way, I think Jennifer did an excellent job putting together our return to work action plan, communicating with our employees and being very clear on what was expected and the reasons behind why we were doing what we were doing. So Jennifer did a great job with that. And anybody that's on this call has been receiving our email communications. So you've seen that it's, throughout the last few months, it's been very important for us to stay current and provide as much information as we can on the virus and on the PPP. I had many conversations on the PPP, kind of navigating that whole thing as it changed daily with our clients. So it's very important for us to supply resources and just our clients, feel and understand that we're in this together, and we want to be here to help. So another thing is our recent emails. Maybe at the bottom you've noticed there's several attachments. We've built up about 350 documents, communication pieces, HR insights, different checklists. So those are available through our client cloud. I've been emailing a number of those out, but really the idea here is to provide tools and resources so not everyone has to start at zero and recreate the wheel. One thing that's highlighted here on this slide is the return to work action plan template. This is actually the one that we went in and customized with more local and state information and put to use here at our place. And this is something that we're happy to help you customize as well for your business. We want to be here to help with that. I think the main piece of this return to work planning is just providing clear communication to your employees, and that's going to ensure an organized return. We have a welcome back to work communication letter. We actually sent ours out via email to employees, and then along with a welcome back packet, which was received, kind of just detailing the health and safety protocols that we're implementing, and again, what was expected. So many of our clients don't have a designated HR person, so a lot of the resources on our client cloud, including HR Insights, HR Toolkits, they're designed to help that person that is wearing multiple hats at a business, and this is, something they're not doing every day, but just to help that HR part of the job, just make that easier and streamline their processes a bit. The last document here is the post-coronavirus workplace preparedness checklist. Who doesn't love a good checklist? We have a number of different checklists that I think really kind of help steer the conversation and getting organized and planning, making your plan. Okay. Many of you have used our learning management system to complete your California sexual harassment trainings or one of the other 200 trainings that are available on our LMS. They've recently actually added 5 trainings specific to coronavirus in order to help managers and employees prepare and handle some of the ongoing challenges of the pandemic. So we're excited about that. I believe we're going to release that to clients later this week. Probably today, actually. Some additional items I'm going to touch on real quickly are things to address if you are offering benefits. Be sure to update your plan documents. There have been benefit changes, eligibility changes made to your plans. Those should be reflected in your plan documents. You can update your ERISA documents with a material modification document. Let's see here. Anyone that is offering an HSA, HRA, or FSA, it's important to communicate the changes on those plans to employees. For example, over-the-counter drugs are now eligible expenses under HSA and under FSA. FSA specifically is extending the amount of time you have to file a claim. They're also increasing the amount on an FSA that you can carry over from year to year. So there's some important changes happening that you should consult your advisor, your broker, or us, and see what we need to do to get current. Finally, here there's new language in the COBRA forms. COBRA is also extending election deadlines for employees, so you have longer to elect COBRA if necessary. And a reminder to update, if you haven't already, update your leave policies to include the language from the Family First Coronavirus Response Act and the Emergency FMLA. Those policies, those should be updated in your handbook, also communicated to employees. There is a required poster, employer post that should be hung at your place of work, and we can send you a copy of that post over if you need one. And that's all I have. So I'm going to take it back to Anthony to wrap it up and take questions.
All right. Well, we're nearing the end of our presentation here, and I just want to let you know you can contact us. We have our email below, phone, as well as address, just if you need that. And then you can also follow us on social media platforms. You can follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and as well as Twitter. And now just moving over to the live Q&A portion of this. We have a few minutes, and so to start, just kind of to break the ice, I'm going to ask Jeremy a question, and then after he answers, just feel free to raise your hand, and I will unmute you. And also, if we just don't get to your question, if we run out of time, we will send you a follow-up email and just make sure that we get you the information that you need. All right. So, Jeremy, just a question that we've been getting a lot is just, is it okay for us as employers to take an employee's temperature?
Thanks. Yeah, and that is a question we've been getting over and over, is what screening measures are okay for employers to take. And right now, this thing is the government guidance is shifting quickly, but currently the current guidance allows for employers to measure employees, measure applicants, take their temperature, and just ensure that that they're at a safe place and not going to risk the rest of the workforce. So right now that is an acceptable practice, and again, make sure you're staying current until that changes.
All righty, thank you. So I'm going to open up the floor. If you do have a question, feel free to press that little raise hand button, and then I can unmute you. Or even if you don't want to ask a question, you can send a question in the question box, and we can answer it on there, or we can answer it right here. So I'll give there a few, maybe just a minute or two, just to see if anybody wants anything. All right, I see Mercedes has a question. Just give me 1 second. I will unmute you. All righty. Go ahead, Mercedes.
I'd just like to hear how you have handled a situation when an employee does not want to come back to work because they're fearful.
Sure. Yeah, and we actually personally haven't had that happen. All of our employees, I think, after seeing the planning that we put in and all of the very strict and guidelines that we've set up, everyone did feel pretty safe coming back to work. I know that in speaking to some of my clients, they do have employees that are not ready to come back for various reasons. In those circumstances, I think it's just, you can't have an employee come back and work effectively if they don't feel safe. So allowing that extended time to work remotely, updating the remote working policies in your handbooks and what's expected, and how employees are monitored and how you communicate with those employees that continue to work remotely. We have templates and resources as well if you need those to kind of update those in your handbook and communicate with employees what's expected. So we haven't personally tackled that, but I expect that will happen to a lot of employers, and we'll have to continue to allow that flexibility for a period of time.
Thank you.
All righty, so I don't see any other questions. And if you do think of a question or you think of anything that you want to talk to us about, please feel free to send us an email, give us a call. And we just honestly want to thank you all for taking time out of your day and attending this webinar, or actually our first webinar that we've done. And I'm very happy with it, and I'm happy that all of you could have attended. So we hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you.